It's Monday night, 8 p.m. in the city. Tonight we're going to have some fun. We're talking sports. We're talking football. I got our head coach, our main man, Coach Darrell Strong is on tonight. We're going to have a good time. 8 o'clock, you know what that means. Eastern Standard Time. That means Dialogue with Dozie is on Facebook and YouTube Live. Tell your friends, tag, share, let them know tonight. Yeah, we're going to lose a couple people who are not sports oriented, but we'll pick them up by picking up the sports oriented. Tonight, Dialogue with Dozie. We're on. My special guest tonight, and so glad to have him, is Coach Darrell Strong. He is in his first year as the head coach of his alma mater, the Plantation Colonels. Coach Strong, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being on. Let me make this disclaimer from the very beginning. The last time he saw me today at football practice, I think I had on my Gator attire. I had to let everybody know that I'm still going to represent the beloved Gator, whether they win, loses, or draw. But in all actuality, you know, Stephen A. Smith style, this is my alma mater. I am a Knight. So on this sports night, since I'd already repped the Gators all day long, let me rep a bit long. I'm surprised you don't have some of that blue and yellow stuff on.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised you're not in University of Miami gear right now.
That can't happen. I tried to wear Miami hats when I first came here. That's what Dozie wore, and I used to wear them. I said, no, wait a minute. I'm only going to have allegiance to one team. That's why I don't wear Jaguars, Dolphins stuff, because at the end of the day, I'm a Steelers fan. I love those teams. The KC, all those teams are my teams. But number one, I'm a Steeler. Then the hometown Knicks. So I only wear Steeler hats. So I don't wear any NFL garb. But it's all about that alligator when you see me dressed out. Coach, I wanted to get you on with Coach Steve Davis, your predecessor, and the person whose reason I've been with Plantation football for the last 17 years. But he has a previous engagement on some Monday nights, and I saw where your coach, Coach Frank Hepler, and I was just so excited at the Dillard game a few weeks ago. By the way, Coach Strong is 2-0 on his debut with wins over hometown neighborhood rival Dillard. Coach Davis used to say, if we don't go down the street and beat that team on the other end of Sunrise, we can't even talk for the rest of the year. And you did it at how they schedule makers put us there. The first game against them, I don't know, but you handled them minorly. He's our offensive coordinator also. He's a quarterback. So that makes sense. And we took care of them. And last night was Friday night was kind of a defensive battle, but we came out on top 2-0. So congratulations, big ups to you, Coach. In your debut, Kepler was there along with so many Plantation alumni. It was a beautiful sight. So I started out by saying that I wanted Coach Davis to do the handoff. He's going to do it even if it's by video in the upcoming weeks to Coach Strong. But we're going to feature a show that's going to have the two of them on. If you do a drive-by for a few seconds, we'll do that. We'll do that and just kind of look and see where college and pro football is going, maybe at the end of September, early March. Coach, just tell us a little bit about your plight at Plantation and on to your college career and your pro career. Share that with our viewers, please.
Well, you know, started my football career at Plantation Wildcats Little League. I moved on to Plantation High School. After that, I got my first offer my sophomore year going into my junior year for the University of Pittsburgh. And throughout my high school careers, I started getting more offers after that first offer from Pitt. And then when it came to signing day my senior year, I decided to sign with Pitt, University of Pittsburgh. So I ended up going to University of Pittsburgh. I played all 4 years there. I played as a freshman. After that, I got a chance to play with the Oakland Raiders as an unrestricted free agent. And I was there for 3 years.
Now, for people who don't know, would you just please explain to our audience how hard that is to walk into a pro team, undrafted, and make that team be there for that you were there?
I'm sorry, I said unrestricted. I mean undrafted free agent.
Yeah,
it's very hard. Because one, you have to make rookie camp. You can easily get cut there if they don't think you're good enough to make it to the OTAs and the all-season program. So you have to make it past rookie camp. And once you get to rookie camp and the OTAs and all of the mandatory mini camps, you have to make it through that as well. And then once you make it through that, then you make it to training camp. And that's where it gets super hard. Because usually teams go into training camp pretty much knowing their roster already. So you really got to go in there and, turn some odds in order to make that roster.
Wow. We're going to get you to talk a little bit about both of those experiences, college and pro, at another time. Coach, now you played all 4 years under Coach Wanstead at Pittsburgh, right?
No, I played 3 years under Wanstead. My first year was under Walt Harris.
Oh, okay. Well, Wanstead had a good he had a good working knowledge of you by being here with the Dolphins on that last year that you played quarterback at Plantation. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so he already had knowledge of me once he got the job at University of Pittsburgh, my sophomore year.
So you played in high school, you played tight end and they moved you your last year to quarterback?
No, I was actually like a utility player. My freshman year of high school, I played DN. And then my sophomore year, I didn't play because I was ineligible. And then I came back my junior year. That's when I moved to a receiver. I moved from receiver. I was like a receiver. I was a punter. I was the kicker. I was pretty much everything as a junior. And then my senior year, I was the quarterback. I moved to quarterback.
Okay. Well, legend had it. Because you played a year with my son. I see Darrell is on. I don't want to mention a little later on into the show something about Darrell, your brother next to you. You played with our son for a year, your senior year, his junior year, having moved over to Plantation, and it was a joy of my life watching you guys for your senior year. And legend had it, D. I don't know if I think you're this humble guy, but legend had it that you sat on your rear end, on your knees, on the 25-yard line, and threw the ball through the goalpost at the other end of the field. Is there any truth to that?
No, there's no truth to that.
But you know how when we get a whole two-story high, it goes and grows. But this I will tell you. Having relocated to South Florida a couple of years before then, I had a chance to see Geno Smith play, who came after you, if I'm not mistaken, Darrell.
Yes, after me.
Okay, after you. He's probably one of the baddest things that I saw down here. And of course, we saw Teddy Bridgewater the next year. He eliminated the beloved Colonels. Out of all those guys, I'll tell you this: as far as pure arm strength and durability and size, there was not a bad appointment. Of course, you succeeded Ryan Snyder after a couple of years at Plantation, but there was nobody. And I was reading Coach Shepard's comments the other night where he was speaking about the players he's been blessed to play to coach, and I guarantee you, when he starts talking about quarterback, you got to be at the top of the list because what a phenomenal season that senior year was. I just enjoyed following you all. I would have followed you even if my son wasn't there because it was just so much fun. Let's get on to college football. D, there's a new a format for college football this year. How familiar with it are you?
I'm not too familiar, but I know it's either 12 team or I want to say 12 or 16 team playoff.
It's 12 teams.
It's 12 teams. Yes.
Yeah.
12 teams. So I think that's gonna be gonna be pretty good for the college football. Definitely.
So what I was trying to determine was the dates, because I see that the quarter round of games will be in the traditional bowl games, and then when it winds down to the championship game, that'll be on a rotating basis. That may not even be at a bowl stadium. It may just be at a you know, maybe at a pro stadium. It's not a bowl. But so the dates were important because of the finals, the kids in finals. But I guess they came finally to the conclusion that D2 and D3 have been in finals and playing 3 and 4 rounds for a championship all these years. So I guess they figured out how to do it. What confuses me further is, and it's just because I just didn't have the time to complete the research, there are 4 automatic berths, and I think they're the Power 4. Is that what you kind of heard?
I'm pretty sure that's probably going to be the ACC, the SEC, the Big 12, and probably the Pac-12.
Okay, well, there's no longer Pac-12. It's the Big 10.
No? Is it Big 10 now?
Everybody's going to the Big 10 from the Pac-12, except for a few teams, and a few went over to the Big 12 or whatever that 12-team conference is called.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Bill and so that's where Colorado is, in fact.
Yes.
So I know those 4 teams have byes, and then it's a tournament by seeding from then on all the way to the championship game. So we'll talk more about that structure later on. But of course, I guess the money people finally said, why this is not just about a debate because a team like FSU got left out last year, but this is about why are we depriving ourselves of all of this money? You can pack all these stadiums and get all these TV funds. Why are we doing that? So I guess that's what it comes down to, and the cream will rise to the top. So let me ask you, who in college football do you see as a powerhouse this year?
You definitely got to go with your Georgia, your Ohio State, your Michigan, your Texas. I can't throw Florida up there. I don't think Florida is a powerhouse this year. They'll eventually get there, but not right now. I
don't know what Florida had to do with this conversation. You and I both know they're not going to beat the Raggedy Roaches this year, but that's a good one. You got me on that. Touche.
But I do like a sleeper. I do like Miami as a sleeper.
As I told everybody to calm down about, going too crazy about them beating the Gators, because this is not a great Gator team by no stretch of the imagination. But I think we saw enough in there to see that they're going to be competitive. In fact, I'm going to be for them. Contrary to what everybody thinks, I'm not a Miami hater. I couldn't be when we got 2 or 3 kids playing down there. Kobe George is down there, and he's balling out right now. So, so I would love to see nothing more than Miami be the team that represents the ACE. Not a particularly strong ACC. Clemson's not that power this year. So they drugged by Georgia.
Yeah, I think I don't know what Clemson got going on. I think they would be like a runner-up, but they're not looking as good as they have in the past.
Yeah. And everybody's saying Georgia is the team to be. And I noticed you said Texas, and a lot of people are looking at Texas because they were right on the verge last year. And I think that's a good call. And I think I don't know. I know they beat some team good, the Dear Sisters of the Poor, somebody, but that Alabama team doesn't look too bad either. But not count them out just because St. Nick has moved on. I think it's going to be. How about these super conferences? Do you have a take on that? All these, like I guess the Big Ten got 90 teams now, and I don't know how many teams are in the SEC. I don't know. I don't know if I like. I think I like the regional concept. If you're on the West Coast, you're on the Pac-10 or Pac-12, whatever it's grown to be, and you play close games. Now you got teams clocking 9,000 miles to play 5 games on the East Coast as opposed to maybe 1 or 2 visits. Vice versa for those teams, it's got to come west now.
Yeah, I actually think they're actually setting up for like a super conference. I think it's going to be maybe 1 or 2 super conferences, and everything else is just going to be bottom tier. I think in the next couple of years after this 12-team playoff bracket thingy, probably will last maybe 4 or 5 years, and then after that, I think it's going to be all super conference.
Yeah, and I just don't know if that's
college football. Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah. But again, you know what that's going to come down to. It's all about the Benjamins. So if we were to think regionally, or think of the top 4 programs, who would you think the top 4 teams would be this year? And we have one.
If we had to do another, let's just say last year playoffs, the top 4 teams, I would probably have to say Ohio State, Texas, Georgia. I would probably Oregon look like they struggled.
Did they struggle this week?
Michigan struggled with Fresno yesterday, the other day. Yes. I would probably have to throw Miami in there.
Okay.
Miami looked good, man.
They did.
I hate to say this because I was an FSU fan growing up, but Miami always looked good. They just never had a quarterback, and now they got a quarterback.
Oh my gosh, do they ever? Yeah,
So,
that kid's going to be in the Heisman conversation maybe by this end of this year. He's got it going on. I agree with you. I agree.
So Miami looked real good. I mean, Cam Ward looks real good. He looks comfortable. He looked like he shouldn't even be playing at the college level right now. He looked like he should be on some pro team right now. And that's great for Miami because they got depth at every position now.
Yeah.
So that's another good thing because I know injuries did away with Miami last year. So, but now they got depth at every position. Man, Miami's gonna be tough.
You think what we saw at Florida State, that upset loss, was that, or in fact they're playing later tonight or now? Do you think that was an anomaly, or do you think that they just ran into a tough Georgia Tech team? You think that Florida State team?
No, I think they ran into a tough Georgia Tech team. Florida State got a lot of transfers, so a lot of those guys haven't played with each other long enough. Really didn't have a true off season. Georgia Tech been playing. I don't think they had too many transfers transferred out. So I think they just ran into a tough Georgia Tech team that looks pretty good right now. They're gonna give that conference hell, whoever they got to play in the ACC.
And I think I agree with you. Now, by the way, Georgia. That game is in Tallahassee, and the Seminoles are down 7-0, and Boston College is threatening right now. They're in the red zone.
Boston College is no slouch. Boston College definitely going to give FSU everything they need tonight.
Well, one of the beauties of this 12-team format is you can come out and have a good game, have a poor game, be upset, not be at the top of your game, and lose and not be out of contention. That could even happen twice in a season. Whereas in times past, unless you were Alabama, if you lost a couple of games, especially if you lost late in the season, your playoff hopes were dashed. Let's talk what's very popular now. When for all the guys, and I don't glory in anybody losing their jobs, but when all of the guys were talking about how bad my Gators were getting beat the other day and this and that and all of that stuff, I was sitting there saying, for every time Miami scores, that moving van is closer to Gainesville away from Boulder, Colorado. That's what I was thinking. Just thinking that, and he would just love that opportunity to beat on FSU every year after they bypass it. But seriously, one of the most refreshing things to hit college football last year was Deion going to a D1 school and having early success with the promise that program is going to do nothing but go up. What's your take on all of that?
I think that was good for Deion. I hope that he won a lot more than what he did last year, but I think what he's doing with that program is definitely going to bring up college football. I think he's still maybe a year or two out, which is you're going to have to start all over, really, because, he got his son, Shador, is probably going to enter the draft after this season, and then also Travis. So he losing big time quarterback and big time athlete. So hopefully he can draw some more recruits in after they leave because he's definitely going to need it.
Well, I mean, you take, for instance, we're a prime example. When you played at Plantation was 3 deep, quality players in skilled positions. I will call the name of that was a running back that could have played for anybody in the county there. I think he was like second or third string. And then you guys, that was kind of the history. And that's the history of a lot of the Miami programs that perennially defeats us in playoffs, all Broward teams in the playoffs. That's why the guys from Ely talk about their championship, not taking anything away from them because they had the great Tyrone Moss. And our staff was basically a former staff. But they didn't play because of their location. They played north, and it was easier to come from Palm Beach than it is to come out of Miami. And so these guys have to know that because that talent is 3 deep. And the story is that those guys are running as fast as they can to get out of Dade County. And so they're at the best of their abilities. So I think that's that. So saying that and associating that with Dion, I know that NIL has had a lot to do with, and the portal has had a lot to do. Does the NIL have a time limit on it, or is that the new way of college football?
There's definitely not a time limit on it, and I definitely think it's the new wave. I hope that they limit the how can I say this without saying it the wrong way? Like limit the money. Like I said, I always want the kids to get their money, but I just feel like these let's just say it's the new wave. I'll just keep it at that for now.
Well, if you let me extend that, and I won't leave that on you, because I understand your position. I think the multi-million-dollar contracts, I would like to see that reserved for the pros. Get a kid some incentive, give them something. If you're making that, why unless you just like the game and want to play for multi-years, man, you take that money and run. A smart kid would invest it and do those kinds of things. I don't know. I never understood that, and I'm getting to know more about it now. Madam Producer is reminding me that we got a great Adrian is saying my brother from another Darrell, kids shouldn't get paid more than the coaches. Darrell, Darrell, I would say that, but in the pros, that happens. Nick, that happens in the pros. So I just don't know how that works. That works out. I don't know. Gerard, thank you for joining us tonight, man. Thank you for all. We did not mention today at football practice that this was happening, so we'll have to tell them to go back and look at the show and maybe give them a half of gas or off for clocking, leaving comments. I know Darrell say bull jive. That ain't gonna happen. That was the R-rated, GP rated version of that.
Nah, we need to run.
Yeah, I'm there. I know. We gonna be all right though. We gonna be all right. I'm gonna talk to you before we sign off a little bit about the fun you enjoy. We're getting ready to go to a break, but I wanted to ask you about college football. Do you see what's your feeling about HBCUs playing these money games? Dion, when he was at Jackson State, wouldn't do it. Because Dion was a millionaire. He had millionaires around him to help pour into his program. What's your take on that? FAMU's coming down here to play Miami this week?
I actually think I think these are good, especially for the program, and not only for the program. The kids get to actually see and feel the big schools and get in the atmosphere of a big school. Because HBCU, I think their crowd holds maybe 50,000 at most, and they go to these Power 5 teams and send 100,000 kids out there. So that's if they plan on playing in the NFL. That's the type of crowd that you want to get around and get used to. So I definitely think these HBCUs should go play these teams and take that money. You need it. It's good for the program.
Yeah, that's the other side to it. I see both sides, but I think there's always this thing that, well, we're playing kids is much bigger and we're susceptible to injuries and all that. Most of these teams come out of there unscathed. That's not, and they don't. And I don't see a team. Last year, FAMU took an early beating and won the national championship for HBCUs. So I agree with you because everybody, they don't hold that L against you is bad because they know what's going on. Mac is one of our consistent viewers, and he says Prime says it's not worth it. But yeah, I'm looking. And I guess it's hard to even consider that. But would you ever have any second thoughts about having played at a Power 5 as opposed to playing at the top HBCU program?
I tell my brother all the time because my brother Darrell Strong went to Clark Atlanta University, and when I got released from the Raiders, I went and trained in Atlanta, and I was on Clark Atlanta's campus, and I said if I can do it all over again, I would definitely go to HBCU.
Wow, that's why would you say that? That's interesting.
The atmosphere. I love the atmosphere.
Okay.
Not saying I didn't love the atmosphere at Pittsburgh, but it was just different, man. I just felt at home. Never been to Clark Atlanta campus, and I just fit in there. So yeah, I would definitely, if I can do it all over again, I would definitely go to HBCU.
Darrell's best friend Dozie went to one of the premier HBCUs in FAMU, and I remember when even when, of course, I can say it now. So we live in Piper. I took him. We met with the coaching staff over there. He said, "Dad, I'm telling you, I want to go to Plantation." And it kind of, the teams that win, there's a culture, and that's where everybody wants to be. Like next year, we're gonna get some kids from certain programs because of how we started off this year. And so we got it arranged. He went over to and the first thing I asked Coach Hepler is because Dozie wanted to go to Morehouse. I said, Coach Hepler, you think you can help him get into Morehouse? I said, he got the grades and stuff. He said, Morehouse? He said, we'll do much better than that. And when all was said and done, the recruit, we hosted a lot of top nice programs in our living room. And FAMU came in kind of last, and once he got a sniff for Tallahassee, it was no. So yeah, I get what you said. We're gonna take a break, and we're coming right back and talk NFL. My guest tonight is Coach Darrell Strong, head football coach at Plantation High School here in Broward County. GoGigaWorld.com. Y'all gonna believe me one of these times when I tell you, if they can make this boy look good, they'll definitely make you look good. That's what they're about. Web building, web hosting, they got you all, anything virtual. They have all of your virtual needs. The pandemic taught us that we needed a virtual life in our life, and they're one of the best companies out there. Well, since I'm on to say they are the best. That's GoGigaWorld.com, and it does not matter that Madam Producer is our oldest daughter. She and the team of the Toyas and Markia and company, they just do a good product. And you watch this, you watch New Life Church every Sunday, you get a taste of just what they do. Let's go GigaWorld.com. So it's the midway point where we normally do Dang Dog or Are You Serious? Or Shout Out. Tonight, it sure would be easy to do Are You Serious? for all the yeehaws, yahoos, and all of the clowns who followed the twice impeached, 34-time indicted, felon indicted, the one who has a $500 judgment against him, the one who a judge has adjudicated civilly as a rapist. How do you follow that clown show? Him and his vice presidential candidate. It looks like nothing they say, nothing this guy says is right. Catwomen. Okay, but we're not going to do that tonight. Tonight we're going to do a shout out. It's Labor Day. We're going to do a shout out. Shout outs to the labor unions of America. Shout outs to the labor unions of America. When I'm a history, social studies, civics, all that. I'm that buff. When I learned about unions, and then when I went into the workforce, that was the dues that I was quick to pay and happy to pay because I saw firsthand what they do. Labor unions are the reasons that we have days off, weekends off, most of us. We have a 40-hour work week. We have an overtime system. We have a system for financial advancement. That there are structures on most jobs for promotion. That's all because of labor unions. And so on this Labor Day, we shout out our labor unions. If you remember in the 80s when they were talking about Morning in America, well, it was President Reagan and his Morning in Americas that shut down the Air Traffic Controllers Union. And they were all about union busting since then. Project 2025 will eliminate labor unions. But some of us have benefited because we've had legal representation when we were mistreated on a job site and all of these things because of labor unions. I often speak of Cesar Chavez. When we talk about Dr. King and others, Cesar Chavez goes right there because he was the one who led through the unions for the Hispanic workers in California, the migrant workers, those who work out in the fields with the grapes and everything. So y'all, what will we be without labor unions? You better think twice when you go to the polls in November because that one party, Project 2025, which was drafted by the Heritage Foundation, they're the ones who put three justices on the Supreme Court that took away a lot of our rights, including the one that says a maniac has immunity. I'm gonna leave it right there, not calling any names, not get partisan. We salute you, labor unions, and all that you do for our workers. I was just we had a cousins reunion a few weeks ago. Two of my cousins work for the United Auto Workers for Chrysler, and they were just talking about how great the unions made provisions for them to get off to make this trip to Florida. Labor unions, we salute you. Shout out from Dialogue with Dozie. We appreciate you. Hey, I'm back with Coach Darrell Strong. And look like Darrell is going to Darrell. Is that what's happening? Is that what happened? Is it? Oh, that's still okay. I only see you from the. I don't see your. Yeah. So okay. All right. Before we start, we got a guest to the show. His name is Dozell Varner III. He says any HBCU that wants to play at the next level should play in the big money game. Okay. All right. NFL recruits use those games to evaluate HBCU talent.
That is correct. That is correct.
That's just what Darrell was saying. Pastor Varell says FSU is getting beat down again tonight. Yeah, I see it down 14-0. I'm gonna switch that over and look at All American Homecoming in a minute. They must not be coming on tonight. Okay, all right. Let's pivot over to the NFL. Darrell, take a second and tell us what your NFL experience was like. I know you talked briefly about it in the intro, but what was that experience like? And the thing I love is that you have that unique ability to share with these young men what it takes to be at that level. Just share what your experience was like.
My experience was it was a fun experience. It was very hard because I took the long route. I had to make the team multiple times, pretty much every year. I mean, that's every player, but I was pretty much an undrafted free agent every year, battling for my position every year. And my situation was unique because with the Raiders, I had a different coach every year. Wow. So I started out with Lane Kiffin. Then I went from Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin ended up getting fired. Then Tom Cable was hired for my second year. So I had to prove myself again. And then Tom Cable got fired, and Hugh Jackson came in. And he was the last one that I was with. So, I mean, my experience was very fun, but it was hard at the same time because I had to prove myself every year and then to different coaches every year. So, when you have different head coaches, you got different position coaches. So, every coach has their own style of coaching. So, I mean, I got all that experience coaching-wise. So my experience in NFL was definitely fun, but like I said, it was very hard at the same time.
Now, I kind of marvel when I listen. Have you ever heard of Bob Hayes, a gentleman by the name of Bob Hayes? They call the world's most fast.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
My dad was instrumental in getting Bob Hayes to play football. He was scared of contact, and he was a running back at Matthew W. Gilbert. Like my dad said, man, with your speed, you don't have to worry about getting hit. Yeah. When Jake Gaither recruited him to E&M and a slew of boys from the east side, that's right, Pastor Burrell, out east where we all came from. When he recruited him in Duval, and that group that came up there, he put him at the wide receiver, and he revolutionized. In fact, the zone defense was invented to contain Bob Hayes. Now, I don't know who has right down here, Cheetah has that speed now that Bob Hayes was, because no one person could stick up to stay with him. Tell me what I know you had a year or so that you played in the USFL. What was the difference in the quality of travel and living and everything else between those? And I know you're not here to disparage USFL, but just for our people watching, to show that you can, because we got several Plantation players in the league right now. Chris Lamons, we know that Jacoby George is on his way. Chris and others. Just kind of share with us what that experience was like.
So it was the UFL, not the USFL.
Oh, okay.
The UFL was the United Football League. It was unique. It was definitely different than the NFL because, obviously the NFL level, you pretty much got everything at hand. The UFL was pretty much like going back to college and grinding all over again to try to get back to that professional level. But my experience there was great. Actually, my head coach was the late, great Danny Green. But also on that staff that a lot of people don't know, was Mike McDaniels, the head coach of the Miami Dolphins right now.
Wow.
He was the running back coach on that staff of the Sacramento Mountain Lions.
Wow. Well, that's awesome. Darrell, speaking of coaches, this kind of covers both college and pros. Eric Bieniemy, who everybody kind of looked at as being an offensive guru when he was at Andy Reid, and then after he kept getting passed over for jobs, he ended up having to go to Washington, which may have not been the best situation for him because that was a team that was just in total chaos with the ownership concerns and all of that. New owner just coming and trying to straighten that out. And that didn't work good for him professionally. So he's now the OC at UCLA. And I think I went to sleep on the game, but they were getting drubbed by a lesser opponent the other night. I think they went on to lose that game. What does it take for a guy like him who, just because he's with Andy Reid, he's punished because people don't give him credit for his offensive acumen? What does it take for a guy like him to break through and get a team of his own?
He has to be in the right. So I tell people all the time, the NFL, you have to be in the right situation in order for you to succeed. You just can't go out there and think you can go out there and be this guru. But if you ain't got the players to be that run your offense, you can go to Washington and look bad. And now you at UCLA out there struggling as well. So I mean, you have to evaluate every situation that you get, and then take the best one, and take the one that you know you're going to succeed in, and not just go in any situation, because not all situations are a good situation for you.
There, you had the you told me the day I asked you, because we were kind of talking about some showpieces. You told me that you actually got a chance to know the late great Al Davis before he checked out. What was that experience? What was Al like?
He was phenomenal. I'm gonna tell you a quick story real quick. I tell this story all the time. Obviously I went to the Raiders as an undrafted free agent. And that same draft class, the 08 draft class, we had Darren McFadden, which was the Raiders. I think he was the 4th overall pick. Me and him this was during the offseason. And me and him was walking in the facility. And next thing you know, we walk through the facility, and you see all these security guards. We not knowing what's going on. So it comes, Al Davis was walking in the building. So this is now at this point I haven't met him yet. Obviously I'm undrafted. I'm pretty sure Darren McFadden met him. So me and him was walking, and Al Davis called both of us over. And when I went over there to speak with him, he started reciting my high school stats.
What?
For somebody who, I think at the time he was close to 90 something, or maybe late 80s, but he was pretty much ready to check out. I mean, he had to have a nurse with him at all times, 24/7, and I was mind blown for him to recite my high school stats.
That is
as an undrafted free agent.
That is absolutely amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Al didn't mind tingling with the powers that be in the league, or in any league, or anything like that for that matter. But one thing we knew about him, and you knew firsthand, that Al was a pioneer in promoting African Americans in the NFL.
Yes.
The first black coach in Art Shell, correct?
Art Shell, yep.
Yeah. So yeah.
Al Davis was very brilliant too. Like I said, that one situation, I think that I met him maybe one other time after that. But it was mind blowing to him to recite my high school stats. I can tell you right now, Dave Wanstead couldn't recite my high school stats, even when he seen me in college, even though I was 2 years removed from high school. So
wow.
So that means he definitely did his research, and I'm just glad that he gave me an opportunity to play at that level.
That is absolutely amazing. That is amazing. Let's talk some NFL. How about Gil Brandt was like that for the Cowboys? You would bring up the Cowboys, wouldn't you, Matt? As long as y'all, okay, let me ask you. Yeah, he would bring. He's a big Cowboy fan. Didn't look like my Chiefs were going to make it last year. My other team, the Jags, the Dolphins, the Steelers, we all know they had a ceiling. So I kind of say, okay, the Cowboys, I'll have one team that'll come through. And I kind of, everybody in Jacksonville, particularly from the east side, were Cowboy fans. And some of them are still Cowboy fans now that they have a team. But because of Bob Hayes and all of those east siders that got selected to the draft. But I was back then I was a Packer fan. You're talking in the 60s when they were rivals. But when they put the ball in Dak's hand, I started looking at them a lot more. And so I tried to pull for them last year. They didn't quite make it. So Mac, we brothers there. We're trying. We're gonna make it. But Darrell, let me ask you, for a guy like Brian Anu, who just signed, what's that game like compared to? They're in constant negotiations, but you got Jerry Jones sitting there and letting his star wide receiver miss camp. Well, you know you're gonna pay him all along. What's that about in the art of negotiations?
I understand it from both parts. As an owner, you want to try to get your best players as cheap as possible, but I also understand it from CD Lamb. Like, no, I give me my money. I earned this money, and I'm not going to show up until you give it to me. Right now, he had the upper hand. He put out the work, so yeah, he deserved to be paid. So he did right and holding out, and eventually it worked out for him. What is he? $34 million a year now.
million.
I mean, that's life changing right there. I mean, his kids should be fine for the rest of their lives. So
I think
it's definitely
guaranteed.
Yes, it's definitely worth it. $34 million annually. So he's making that yearly. So that should be great.
Max says the Cowboys can't stop the run. This is because they got those small bodies on that D line. And as good as Michael Parsons is, he needs some beef to help him on that line. So
listen, he can't do it by himself.
Can't do it by himself. And the Cowboys, as you know, were not at all active in free agency. What did they re-sign? They re-signed what's the running back's name?
Ezekiel Elliott.
They re-signed Zeke. Boy, that's a good sign for you. He looked like he's ready to retire. That's a good sign. So, Darrell, Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady? Not putting you on the hot spot.
I have to go with Tom. Tom is proven already. But I think eventually Pat Mahomes will get to rise above Tom Brady. But right now it's Tom Brady.
So your predecessors, they would all shout. I mean, they would get mouth-foaming arguments with me about who's number one quarterback of all times. And I say, you guys are going with what have you done for me lately? Surely Tom has won 7, but Joe won 4. He was undefeated, as was Bradshaw. And coach, your predecessor himself would say, friggin' Bradshaw played on everybody on that team was a Hall of Famer. That was before free agency. So I trust what you said. My partner on the show, my brother, says that Brady would put that ball. People didn't give him credit for how well he placed that ball. And he played wide receiver, so I think he had a great appreciation for that. And I'm asking some peripheral questions as we're heading out of here. Where would you put T.O.? I think we had this conversation. Where would you put T.O. in the lineup of great wideouts?
Okay, so let's just walk through it. So right now, I will put Randy Moss out there as my number 1. Jerry Rice is my number 2. I would definitely put. I know a lot of people think this is a biased decision, but his body of work is there. I will put Larry Fitzgerald as my number 3. Now this is where I think T.O. will come in because you got Calvin Johnson, you got Terrell Owens, you got Antonio Brown, you got Andre Johnson. I think that tier of guys, that's what T.O. falls in.
Does AB get to be rated because he short-circuited his own career, unfortunately?
No, his body of work will always speak for itself.
Okay. Now, my only issue with you, with what you're saying is, see, I'm a child of the 50s, the late 50s and the 60s. I saw John Mackey because he was a tight end, but I saw Warfield and I saw from your beloved Florida State, Fred Biletnikoff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know
Oakland Raider?
Yeah, right. That's right. A Raider. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think some of those guys need some love when we start rating these receivers like this. Who do you see? Well, let me ask you this: my beloved Steelers locked in a tough conference, a tough division. You got the boy at Cincinnati. You got Lamar. Where do you see the Steelers coming? How do you see that who's coming out of that Central Division or AFC?
Third.
You see them third? Who you see?
Yeah, I see them third. I think Cincinnati get it together this year, but I still think they fall short to Baltimore Ravens. So I like the Ravens, I like Cincinnati, I like the Steelers, and then I like the Browns.
Okay, you got another unique situation. 2 up-and-coming teams. One is a kind of like a flash and dash flair rollout quarterback in the Packers. And you got that old-fashioned tough team in Detroit. How do you see that division shaping up?
Oh, that's actually going to be a tough one, but I like Detroit. I like Detroit to come out of that division on top. One, but just because of the coaching.
Okay.
Their coaching is tough over there. I love it.
What a
But then you also have the Chicago Bears that's looking good with Williams, Caleb Williams. I still think they're still short a couple of players, but you never know. They might make a trade for what they might need. The Vikings is still tough. That's definitely a team to beat. And then you got Green Bay, a young Green Bay team over there that's still looking good. So I think that division is pretty much still up for grabs, but I like the Lions to come out on top.
Okay. Alex McWhirter asked you, would you rather play for Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes? No easy questions, right?
No, that ain't no easy question. Ooh, that's tough. I gotta go with TB12.
Wow.
I gotta go with TB12. That's a tough question. Listen, you can't go wrong with either or. You're winning regardless.
Now, see, that just shows you, you played in both eras or around in both eras. That's really, I consider that a well thought out and well put together answer. You considered all the factors in there. Let's see who we got out on the West Coast. We got the Rams and the Niners. Do you think the Niners are coming out of the NFC this year?
Yeah, I actually do. I think they come out. I think they come out on top. The Niners are still tough, man. I mean, they just signed Brandon Ayuk back.
Yeah.
So they pretty much bringing their whole team back. If they can stay healthy, I like them to come and represent the NFC.
So let's switch over to the other side, and we've looked at the NFC Central, and of course now Harbaugh is now back in the West. Do you think they'll be up and coming in the next year or two to really challenge the Chiefs?
Yeah, he's going to need a couple of years. He's going to need to get a couple of those draft picks. He's going to need to get his own guys over there. But right now, I don't see them making any noise in the AFC West. I like them to come third. I like the Chiefs, Raiders, the Chargers, and the Broncos.
So the Raiders are going to get that elevation either way, but they get a hometown. So down here in the South, the NFC South, that's going to be pretty interesting. Everybody said Atlanta has stacked together a great team. We know what the Bucks, how they ended up. I'm glad that they re-signed their quarterback. How do you see the NFC South ending up?
You know what? That division is always tough. Like, there's never really separation between any of the four teams. I mean, the Bucks are tough. The Panthers, I don't know what you're gonna get out of Bryce Young. The Saints, they week by week. And then the Falcons, they look good, but then sometimes they don't. I don't know who their starting quarterback is right now. So I probably have to go with the safe bet will probably be the Bucks.
The Bucks, okay. And finally, the AFC South. Stephen A. Smith says that Tua Tagovailoa cannot win a game when the temperature is below 70 degrees. Is this the year that he disproves that? They dethrone the Bills, who does not have a wide out to throw to. What do you think about that?
The AFC East.
Yeah.
No, I don't like the Dolphins coming out of there. I actually like the Jets. If the Jets can stay healthy, if the Jets can stay healthy, they will definitely come out on top. I like the Dolphins to come second, and then the Bills, and then you get the Patriots.
Quarterback situation in Pittsburgh. You like Tomlin's decision?
Wait, who did he choose?
He chose Russell.
Yeah, I mean Tomlin had 0 losing seasons.
Yeah.
So he's proven. So he know who should and shouldn't be starting. I don't know what Justin Fields doing over there, but if Russell Wilson starting, he probably deserve it.
Yeah, I think I agree with the assessment that I saw the boys see over on First Things First, that there really was nobody who just set the world on fire. So you go with the veteran.
You're the veteran.
Yeah, you hold on to Justin Fields, though. He has a chance to grow with that program. Darrell, get you out of here after this. You know we were coming to this. Who do you see winning the big game this year? I think it's in where is it? Where's the Super Bowl in Atlanta?
It's in Louisiana.
It's back in New Orleans again. Okay. Who do you see winning that this year?
I mean, a lot of people probably look at me crazy, but I like the Baltimore Ravens to win it all.
Oh wow!
I like Lamar Jackson to finally get his Super Bowl ring.
Wow, they were just a couple of plays away from beating the Chiefs last year. And of course, if they win, they they're gonna probably beat. So I like that, guys. This has been one of those fun shows where we weren't talking world problems, we weren't talking 45, want to be 47. We just dealt with some sports, good old-fashioned sports, and we had what I would call a resident expert. Congratulations to your 2-0 star coach. And I joked with him. He signed me. He let me do a 1-year walk-on contract this year. Be on the staff, and I'm having such a good time with his young staff, and he and his brother. I love that brotherly dynamic. His brother is my son's best friend, and I love all of that stuff. But he got some talent growing up. Man, there's some freshmen and sophomores on that team that's going to move some mountains. So I asked him, can we renegotiate the contract?
Yeah, you always welcome back. Listen, you got a lifetime deal with me. I tell you that. Every year you can come back.
Y'all heard it right here on the dialogue, everybody. Now I got to do my part, not to tick him off between here and the end of the season. Coach, final words. Thank you so much for coming our way tonight.
Of course, thank you for having me on.
Thank you, Coach Darrell Strong, former Pittsburgh Panther. Former Oakland Raider, former Pittsburgh Panther, former Plantation Colonel. We thank you for stopping by tonight. We'll be back on next Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Dialogue with Dozie, Facebook, YouTube Live. Tell your friends who missed the show, go back and look at this. This is a good one. And you heard it from what I would consider to be an expert. He's played on every level and enjoyed every level and has a great working knowledge. Dialogue with Dozie. We'll see you this time next week. Thank you, family. Love y'all, Mac.